are coming up on liquid oxygen loading completion at the T-minus 3-minute mark. Now, for some reason,
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
There's that call out we were waiting for. Stage one liquid oxygen loading is now complete. If for some reason we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, January 15th at 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. Currently, weather is green and the range is ready to support a T0 of 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. And the landers continue to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the vehicle. Next coming up will be at T-minus 2 minutes. We should hear the call out for propellant loading.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Right on time. That is stage 2 LOX load complete. That means propellant loading is now fully complete on Falcon 9. The vehicle is now fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. And just a correction, it is 1:11 a.m. Eastern Time for liftoff tonight.
Gas launch closeouts has started.
Now that the propellant loading is complete, we should begin to see venting coming from the transporter erector. That is just clearing out those propellant lines from the TE in preparation for liftoff.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Third call out. This means that the Falcon vehicle's internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. We're now just waiting for the final go from the launch director.
LD, go for launch.
And great news, we are go for launch, so let's watch as Falcon 9 takes our 2 lunar payloads out to space.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff. Go Firefly, go iSpace, go Falcon.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
T plus 30 seconds into launch, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center. Now the vehicle is going vertically, but it will begin to move horizontally. We're going to gimbal those.
Falcon 9 power and telemetry are nominal.
We're going to gimbal those engines. We're still going up, but now
Engine air pressure is nominal. Vehicle is supersonic.
We'll be moving horizontally, and that helps the vehicle get into orbit and avoid being pulled back down to Earth. And we are coming up on max Q. This is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see during ascent.
Max Q.
There's that call out. We've passed through max Q. And we do have a few events coming up in quick succession. That'll be MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. MECO is main engine cutoff, and that's where we will shut down all 9 of those M1D engines that you see there burning bright on your screen. That prepares the vehicle for stage separation. That's when the first and second stages separate from each other, and the first stage will begin to make its way back down to Earth, while the second stage carries the payloads and continues with its journey with SES-1, or second stage engine start 1. And that's where we will ignite the MVAC engine on the second stage. And shortly afterwards, we will have SECO, where the vehicle will coast. So we are coming up on those 3 events that I just mentioned: MECO, stage separation, and SES-1 in just about 20 seconds from now. Some really cool tracking views here of Falcon 9 and those 9 Merlin M1D engines burning bright there.
MECO, stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
And great views. We watched as we shut down those 9 Merlin M1D engines, stage separation, and now you can see there on your screen that MVAC engine has ignited, again carrying the 2 lunar landers aboard Falcon 9's second stage. And there on your left-hand screen, you can see that the first stage is deploying its grid fins. Those hypersonic grid fins will help guide the vehicle back down to Earth. And in about 15 seconds or so, we will also have fairing deploy. We have the fairing protecting the payloads through ascent. But once we're in the vacuum of space, we no longer need that protection, so we will jettison those fairing halves.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And a really cool view of the payloads encapsulated in those fairing halves, the fairing halves deploying. We will once again attempt to retrieve these fairing halves once they make their way back down to Earth. And in a few minutes, we will also have a couple more burns for our first stage to prepare it for landing on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. Now we are T plus 4 minutes and 10 seconds into today's mission. We're currently in the first of 3 planned MVAC burns. Around T plus 6 minutes, you should see on your screen the first stage's entry burn. Now that entry burn is where we ignite 3 of the Merlin M1D engines, and that's going to be the E9 engine plus the E1 and E5 engines. Now that helps slow the vehicle down as it's re-entering back into the Earth's atmosphere. Now, the reason why we slow down the vehicle is to reduce the re-entry forces, which helps us recover and reuse the first stage booster. So far, everything is looking nominal. Stage 2 still carrying our lunar payload and on a nominal trajectory. Now again, the first stage vehicle is making its way back down to Earth. We're about 45 seconds away from the entry burn beginning. And just as a reminder, the first stage booster that is supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for the 5th time. Falcon 9 is the world's first orbital class rocket, reusable rocket, and this is important because reusability allows SpaceX to refly the most expensive parts of the rocket, which in turn drives down the cost of space access. So we do have that entry burn coming up just about 10 seconds. Again, that will be 3 engines reigniting for just about 20 seconds or so.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
There's that call out, and on your left-hand screen, you can see that those engines have ignited. Again, helping to slow down the Falcon 9 booster as it's making its way back down to Earth.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there we heard the call out as well. As you can see that the engines have shut down. That concludes the entry burn for the Falcon booster. Coming up next in about 1 minute will be SECO. That is second stage engine cutoff. And that'll basically be where we shut down that MVAC engine and allow the second stage to coast with the payloads.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
As the vehicle is making its way towards its targeted drop-off or orbit for each of the lunar landers. And just shortly after we have SECO, we'll also have the landing burn startup on the booster. So we will have a couple events happening back to back.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 transonic.
For the landing burn, we reignite the center E9 engine. And again, that slows the vehicle down just in time to touch down for landing. And we have SECO 1 coming up, as well as the landing burn in just a few seconds.
SECO.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Nominal orbit insertion.
Full view of first stage, touching down for landing.
Landing leg deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you can see on your screen, the Falcon has landed on Just Read the Instructions. That marks SpaceX's 398th recovery of an orbital class rocket, and that includes first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Now we're just waiting for confirmation of good orbit. Again, we have had SECO, that is second engine cutoff 1 for that MVAC engine. And we are just waiting to confirm good orbital insertion.
We're just in anticipation of launch.
Now let's get a closer look at the moon-bound lander. Here's Ray with an overview of Blue Ghost.
Firefly's Blue Ghost lunar lander was designed for stability. It's about 6.5 feet tall and 11.5 feet wide, so it has a low center of gravity and a wide footprint. Blue Ghost has a robust communication system with 1 X-band antenna and 3 S-band antennas that enable HD video transmission from the lander to Firefly's Mission Operations Center in Texas. The lander has 3 solar panels to help power Blue Ghost and our 10 NASA payloads during transit and on the lunar surface. For propulsion, Blue Ghost has 8 RCS thrusters, or reaction control thrusters, that Firefly designed and built in-house. These thrusters help maintain the lander's orientation during maneuvers and independently perform the final descent by pulsing for a soft landing. We have 12 attitude control system thrusters that help point the spacecraft in the right direction. These are actually the same ACS thrusters we use on our Alpha rocket and Electra orbiting vehicles. Blue Ghost has 1 main engine that provides high thrust for our lunar orbit insertion and braking burn prior to landing. The lander has 4 propellant tanks that carry our hypergolic fuel and oxidizer. We have 2 pressurant tanks that carry our helium. Blue Ghost is equipped with 49 struts that connect our upper and lower panels to provide a rigid structure. These struts were built in-house using the same lightweight carbon composites we use on Firefly's launch vehicles. Blue Ghost has 4 carbon composite legs and foot pads that utilize crushed core honeycomb to absorb shock and stabilize the lander as it touches down on the lunar surface. Our foot pads have contact sensors on the bottom that signal engine shutdown upon landing. We have vision navigation software that supports landing by identifying potential hazards on the moon, such as rocks and craters, before determining the safest landing site.
Firefly's Blue Ghost Mission 1, Ghost Riders in the Sky, is delivering science and technology to the moon through NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative. This allows NASA to buy lunar delivery services from American companies for our payloads. In turn, those payloads will help advance science exploration and the commercial development of the moon. The Ghost Riders mission includes approximately 60 days of payload operations, most of which will be spent transiting to the moon. And then those 10 NASA payloads, they'll have about 2 weeks on the surface of the moon to perform their tests, experiments, and other activities. Let's turn our attention now to the rocket that's going to help Blue Ghost get to its lunar destination. Joining us live is Jesse Anderson at SpaceX in Hawthorne, California. Jesse.
Thanks, Daryl. Last year, SpaceX was honored to launch the IM-1 mission, the first commercial lunar lander to touch down on the moon. We are excited to partner with Firefly for another NASA delivery to the moon as part of the agency's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative. This is a special mission for SpaceX today because we are launching not only one, but 2 lunar landers. And we'll share a little bit more about the secondary payload in a bit. And coming soon, SpaceX will launch NASA's IM-2 Nova-C lunar lander mission, also part of the Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative. Also on the manifest this year are NASA's Punch and Spear X missions, as well as the return of Crew 9 and the launch of Crew 10, just to name a few. Now, it's going to be an exciting year for NASA missions.
The launch out sequence has started.
Firefly's Blue Ghost Mission 1 marks our 8th launch of the year after a record-breaking 2024 where we launched 134 Falcon missions. Also last year, our Dragon spacecraft delivered several missions to and from the International Space Station, including 2 cargo missions, CRS-31 and CRS-30, and 3 human spaceflight missions, Crew 8, Axiom 3, and Crew 9, which is currently still docked at the station. Now, coming back to today's mission, we are now at T-minus 34 minutes from liftoff. And while the countdown continues, let's take a moment to meet the vehicle that will be taking these payloads to space today. Falcon 9 is a reusable 2-stage rocket and the first orbital-class rocket capable of reflight. Since first taking flight in 2010, Falcon 9 has launched more than 400 times, including nearly 350 reflights, proving reusability is essential to sustain more advanced and deeper space exploration. Reusability allows SpaceX to refly the most expensive parts of the rocket, which in turn drives down the cost of access to space. And speaking of reusability, this is the 5th flight for the first stage booster supporting today's mission, which previously flew NASA's Crew 9 to the space station, RRT-1, and 2 Starlink missions. And after it completes its mission today, we will once again look to land and reuse the booster on a future flight. Now, this time the booster will return and land on our drone ship. Just read the instructions, which is currently on standby in the Atlantic Ocean. The first stage, which is the tallest portion of the vehicle, provides 1.7 million pounds of thrust thanks to its 9 Merlin M1D engines. Named after the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, the 9 in Falcon 9 actually refers to those 9 engines. The second stage is powered by a slightly modified engine called the Merlin Vacuum or NVAC engine. Now, this engine has a larger nozzle, which allows the second stage to perform more efficiently in the vacuum of space. The first stage gets us out of Earth's atmosphere and into space, while the second stage takes the payload to its targeted drop-off orbit. Now, the large barrel structure with the pointed nose cone at the very top of the vehicle is the payload fairing, and it's composed of 2 halves made up of carbon composite material that come together to protect the payloads until we're in the vacuum of space. We'll be attempting to retrieve the fairing halves once again with our recovery ship, Bob. Both halves of the fairing flying today are flight proven, with one side flying for the 20th time and the other for the 12th time. And there you can